Do I really believe the billion lions thing, or am I just doing it for engagement? I'm going to give you the Watsonian response and the Doylist response. The Watsonian response is, I think people who are doing power scaling and versus battles and stuff like that are ignoring pretty obvious dimensions. Like, ask the question, why is it that Goku was able to get hit by a rock thrown by Krillin and have that rock do actual damage, and then later on blow up planets and dodge things like at light speed? The common power scaler response is, oh, it's a gag, so we ignore it. But as someone who does, science content, and I'll say this again, power scaling is not science, I cannot just ignore data. That is the worst thing you can do from a scientific standpoint. It's bad. If you ignore data, then you're not really doing anything but cherry-picking evidence for a conclusion that you already think is true, and that's how we get flat earthers. Do you want flat earthers? Because that's how we get flat earthers. So let's make sense of it. Why can Goku take hits and get hurt by things that make no sense? The answer is simple. Breadth of focus. Focus can be divided into two aspects. There's intensity or depth of focus, which is how much you can focus on a singular thing. And then there's breadth of focus, which is how many individual things you can focus on. When people mention things like reaction speed, that's all depth of focus. That's all being able to notice a singular thing and respond to that singular thing in a certain amount of time. Breadth of focus is the amount of stuff that you can process in your brain at the same time. This is why fighting one person and fighting two people at about half strength of the first person is not equivalent. Fighting two people is harder even if they both hit half as hard. This is real. This is science we have done in the real world. This effect compounds on itself exponentially. The more things you have to keep track of at the same time, the harder it gets to be able to deal with it. By the time you hit like 7, 8, 10 people, it doesn't matter how strong you are, they're gonna take you down. The human or human equivalent brain struggles with about keeping 7 things in mind at the same time. Now let's take an analog, right? You are more powerful than an ant. You are magnitudes more powerful than an ant. You can step on an ant, you could set fire to an ant colony, there's nothing an ant can do to harm you. And yet, people have stepped on an anthill, gotten swarmed by ants, and died. The average anthill has 250,000 ants in it. If you can get killed by 250,000 non-venomous ants simply by being swarmed by them, due to things like heat, dehydration, getting your airways clogged, that's because you could not split your focus in such a way to actively deal with all 250,000 ants coming at you at the same time. So the minuscule amount of damage that they deal to you builds up. Now, there are 4 250,000s in a million and 1,000 millions in a billion. So you'd think that means that a billion ants could kill you 4,000 times over, except we established that that's not how it works. 2 people at half strength are harder to fight than 1 person at full strength. This is not geometric, it's exponential. So a billion ants would be truly and utterly terrifying. Even though if you think of 1 person versus 1 ant, it's laughable. Ants have killed people before. Ants have killed the biggest life forms we have on land simply due to numbers. Now, when we're talking about the one of every Pokemon versus a billion lions or the Goku versus a billion lions, none of them have been shown to be able to split their focus more than the average human being or animal. That's why they can still take hits. That's why Goku still gets hit even when he's in Ultra Instinct. He doesn't get hit just because someone's more powerful than him. He gets hit because he's overwhelmed. This is how gods in stories are sometimes killed by mortals, by being overwhelmed. And a billion of anything is already a scale way fucking beyond any overwhelming force we have seen in battle ever. Heck, it's estimated that only 40,000 lions exist, and that's on the high end. We have no idea how much damage a billion lions could do. But we know how much damage 250,000 ants can do, and it's enough to kill a man. Now, people often say, well, oh, Goku could just fly into the atmosphere and destroy the planet. Number one, it's pretty firmly established that Goku cannot breathe for extended periods in space, so if he destroyed the planet, he's just killing himself too. That's literally been a plot point that's been brought up several times in Dragon Ball. Plus, when has Goku destroyed a planet? Goku ain't blowing up Earth to kill some lions. Sure, he can instant transmission away, but it takes time to lock onto someone's key signature. An instant transmission is specifically locked on to a person. And that's the thing. Every unit of time, no matter how minuscule, is an opportunity for Goku to get overwhelmed by the scale of the split focus that is needed to deal with a billion of anything, let alone lions. A Kamehameha takes time to charge up and throw. Instant transmission takes time. Flying away takes time. He still has to take off. And in that time, a billion lions are attacking him. Fuck, you could get smothered to death via body heat alone by just a couple lions. So yeah, overheating, suffocation. I mean, Goku was affected by a heart virus. Virus replication is another example of huge scale bringing someone who is otherwise godly down. It takes about 1 million, just 1 million plague-forming units, that's an actual unit of measurement, to make someone gravely ill by even things such as the common cold. If Goku can die to 1 million viruses, he can definitely die to 1 billion lions. Because not only the physical damage of the lions, not only the capability to overheat or smother someone, not only the split focus, but now each of these lions is a possible vector of disease too. The reason why there are only about 40,000 lions in existence is because if 1 billion lions existed on our planet, it would damage the ecosystem so much that it would destroy it. They're planet busters, just like Goku. There is no feasible way I can imagine that Goku can beat 1 billion lions. The only arguments I've ever seen, A, involve discarding the times that Goku was harmed by, say, viruses or rocks, and B, are basically just caveman thinking and are saying, oh, but Goku is big, powerful, and will blow up planet do. Scale is crazy, and most people cannot comprehend scale. We cannot comprehend the scale of 1 billion lions. And every time people say Goku would solo 1 billion lions, it just further proves that they cannot comprehend the scale of 1 billion lions. Anyway, that's the Watsonian reason. The Doylist reason is I find it hilarious that people get upset over this. Power scaling isn't science, so you could effectively argue anything wins against anything. And the fact that some fictional character somehow beating an amount of lions that has never existed nor will ever exist is so important to someone makes me giddy inside. So I will claim that 1 billion lions will beat anything. Someone once asked me who wins, 1 billion lions or 1 trillion lions, and I said, I don't know, 1 billion lions is a lot of lions, because it's fucking funny. Not to mention, as I said in an earlier video, like, rooting for the god is so weird to me. It's like rooting for the Yankees. Who wants to root for the person who seems like they're gonna win? That's fucking boring. So I am team 1 billion lions all day long. And if anyone ever asks me any power scaling question, I will always start the video by saying, first, 1 billion lions beats all these people that you mentioned. And then I'll answer the question. So do I legitimately believe this, or am I doing it for the engagement? TLDR, both.